You're listening to the Manifesting Miracles podcast. By tuning in today, you're dialing into your frequency of abundance. I'm Michelle J. Lamont, your manifestation master and guide. Ever since 2016, I've been obsessively dedicating my life to uncovering, dissecting, and analyzing every aspect of the practices and modalities in which we call manifestation. You see, you are truly more powerful than you can even imagine and fully capable of manifesting miracles on the daily. I'm going to teach you how to attract a life beyond your wildest dreams using your own divine power. So let's get started manifesting your miracles right now. If you've never gone to my YouTube channel, this will be the episode to watch because I am going to reveal to you my photos and videos of how I was contacted by a UFO. Now, if this is your first time tuning in and you are ready to manifest your dreams and you're ready to align your consciousness with the higher collective, if you're sick and tired of living in a low vibrational state, if you're sick and tired of coming out of anxiety, of fear, of depression, not knowing which way is up, not knowing who to trust, feeling like you've been lied to, feeling like you've been manipulated, feeling like the collective consciousness is evolving, well, you, my friends, are a light worker being that is here on this collective to raise your vibrational point of attraction so that you can help everybody within the universe, not only our solar system, but there are 165 billion. Now think about that for just 1 second. 165 billion solar systems like ours. Now we have only one sun and we chase it all the way through space. We're like stalking the sun. And how does the sun give us the energy? Well, it emanates rays of energy that come as light, that come as heat, and come as a source to help the earth grow plants and the oceans and the trees and the heat. And then we have the moon for gravity, and we have our own moon, and our moon orbits us. And as the sun goes through the space and we're hurling through space on this little blue marble, we are interconnected to the 165 billion. How many millions does it take to make 1 billion? And then you're going to times that times 165 billion solar systems. A poll was just recently taken across the US and saying, do you believe in extraterrestrials and UFOs and USOs and aliens? And what percentage, I'm just curious, what percentage do you think responded that they do believe, or they've had some sort of contact, or they've had some sort of experience? 65% of Americans polled, and I'm just speaking as an American. I'm also Colombian, but I didn't check the pollings in the Netherlands or in Austria or in Canada or in France or in Australia or in England or in the provinces. I didn't check every place else. I just checked here in the United States. Although I have people who are listening from around the world and probably from all different planets, because I know they've made contact with me and I have the proof of it. Now, if you had told me this many, many years ago, I would have thought you were a crazy tin hat wearing, aluminum hat wearing person who, needs to go see a doctor. But I was living in a very limited state where I believed all the information that I was getting and feeding. And so you've been indoctrinated and manipulated into believing that you are small, into believing that you don't really matter, into believing that the best that you can do is get a job, buy a house, maybe just live in an apartment, and eat, sleep, work, shit, fuck, go back, and if you're lucky, maybe have a kid or two. And this is an indoctrination that started with J.D. Rockefeller many, many years ago to create a labor force, not a human force of spirituality, of loving consciousness, of freedom. They were trying to indoctrinate us into living a life that they would benefit from. Who is the they? The 1 to 3% of the population who dominates everything, the banking system, child pornography, sex trafficking, racism, bigotry, sexism, classism, ageism, all of the things that make us feel disconnected from each other. Why? Why? Why would it benefit us as a race, as a human race? No humans are illegal. Okay? That's a false reality. To pin us against others. Why? To believe that there is scarcity, to believe that there is low vibrations that we can all connect to. Everybody is going to complain. So few people are happy, and they share their joy, and they share their communication, and they share their energy with us. And so I'm here as a light worker, a loud ass Colombian American Scorpio, life path 9, mother badass, mother guru, who is here to help as many people as I consciously can raise their energy and become one with nature, become one with God's source energy, to see how powerful they are, to step out of the matrix and to step into the science of consciousness. So I want to tell you a little bit about how I got started on this journey. I'm one of these people that is a rabbit hole people. If somebody tells me something, I immediately want to disprove it. I'm like, oh, that's not true. That's not true, because I was always brought up in a very stressful way. And if you want to know more about that, you can listen to episode 2 or episode 1 or episode 4. The first 12 I recorded all in one day. So I don't even remember which one was which. But you can find out all about how I grew up, how I was homeless, how I was orphaned, how my mom died, how I was abused mentally, verbally, sexually in the orphanage, how I married an abuser. But then I ended up creating all these incredible companies and did all these things in this world that were not supposed to be for somebody like me, a forgotten immigrant child who, was brought up like most spiritual people and most enlightened people and most higher conscious people in a difficult reality. And why? Because when we choose that type of work, we are breaking generational bonds of trauma, and we're raising the collective consciousness, because we're here for the science of consciousness. And as a race of being on a planet, the goal is for us to love Mother Gaia, to understand that we are all connected. And I'm going to do an episode on the law of oneness and the law of energy and the law of vibration this month, to help take that next step of consciousness out of the I wonder what's going on into I know what's going on. And my goal in all of these things is to help raise the consciousness of the collective. That's why I create these incredible courses like Into the Mystic and Masterclass and 6 Weeks to Success. Because I know that when we step out of fear and we start investing in ourselves emotionally, energetically, physically, vibrationally, financially, the universe shifts as well. And your collective consciousness can change everything. There is technology since Tesla was around to give us all free electricity. But do we have free electricity? No. But that exists. That technology exists. And why? Because they need us to be dependent on working, dependent on fear, dependent on that broken class system where only the house wins. Just like in Vegas, right? Only 2 to 3% of the population is enjoying the fruits of our labor. All right. And so as we have shifted, and we had since the dawn of Aquarius on December 20th, 2020, we've stepped into a new era, and the consciousness of the collective started evolving and started changing. And so as we all started shifting, and because you're listening, I know that you are a protected, guided, beautiful, divine being. And I know for a fact that once you start meditating, once you start going down those rabbit holes, once you start bucking the reality, you will change the protons, the neutrons, the atoms, the way that you're perceiving the electrons. Everything in your reality will start shifting, and people can call that quantum leaping, and people can call that higher consciousness. But I'm just telling you, as somebody who 100% understands anything that you've ever gone through on a cellular level. That my intention is for you to open your mind and to reach out into the higher consciousness of you and elevate this world. You are valued. You are important. And it's time for you to step into a higher state of consciousness. So, I want to talk about how all of this came to be and how I went from believing that those people were tin hat wearing people to being one of these people. So, along with 65% of humans, we've always been introduced to the thought of UFOs or aliens in a negative bias, right? Any movie you ever saw where aliens, it was like America versus the aliens and the red, white, and blue flag, and our army is going to beat them, and they're invaders and they're here to hurt us. Just like we were told to use fluoride in our toothpaste to calcify our pineal gland and to not be awakened in our consciousness. Just like we were told so many lies, and there's all of these things to create divisiveness and diversity in a negative way, so that the people who are in the fear mode the most will cause the most violence, will cause the most destruction. They want to have one world order in order for us to be subservient and not be free. And so, just like everybody else, I saw movies with aliens and people and being in fear of them and having this trepidation and this quandary of energy where I was just always thinking like, oh my God, they're going to come and they're going to blow up the planet. And so as I started my spiritual awakening, one of the things that kind of came into my consciousness was that there were a lot of energies around me. And once I became a master meditator, that means that I had 200 hours of witnessed meditation. I started receiving much deeper downloads. And becoming a meditator allows you to be more intelligent. There's science that proves that people who meditate, their IQ goes up, their earning potential almost doubles, and your ability to communicate with the actual energy that loves you and supports you, I call it God, becomes unstoppable. The information that you receive in downloads when you're meditating, it may not be during the meditation, it may be the next day or the next day or next week or the next month, but it will happen. And you cannot meditate wrong. You can just go to YouTube and search 10-minute guided meditation and start with that for the first 21 days. All right. So the next thing that took me onto my journey was this thought that there was things around me or this other, internal voice that I just couldn't turn off. But it was really more like, I don't know how to describe it best, but it was more like this all-knowing and I were not separate any longer. We were co-collaborating. We were friends. And the more I meditated, the more that they would push me towards another author, another book, another rabbit hole to go down. And the rabbit hole of UFO and aliens came to my reality. And the way that this was brought to me was by somebody that I was friends with had suggested that I watch this movie. They were in my meditation group. And she was a mom of one little boy and precious little baby. And she said, have you ever seen Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind with Dr. Stephen Greer? And I was like, no, I remember watching as, when I was younger, Close Encounter, the movie with I think Drew Barrymore or somebody, I can't remember. And the guy, makes the mashed potato of the mountain and the UFO and all that kind of stuff. Well, she said, well, there's a real close encounters of the fifth kind, and it's by a doctor named Dr. Stephen Greer. And Dr. Stephen Greer was a medical doctor. He used to treat gunshot wounds and stabbings and all of that sort of thing. And through his life, and he grew up in a very troubled environment, a very harsh reality, just like all the light workers of the earth, are a large percentage of us. And he became an MD to help and to serve, and then he became as a man of science, he became more and more infatuated with this experience that he had as a child with his own UFO encounter. And as he became older, it's reawakened him when he was meditating in on a rock, I believe in Arizona or somewhere in New Mexico, and the E.Ts made contact with him. And they were peaceful, they were gentle, and they were kind. Now Dr. Stephen Greer is the foremost authority on UFOs. In fact, he has been the go-to person for not one president, not two presidents, not three presidents, not four presidents, but 5 different presidents. He would create reports on what was going on. And so these other beings have been around for eons, right? You can see in the hieroglyphics that they have little drawings that look like spaceships. You can see throughout history all the different times where the extraterrestrials have made contact with us in a conscious way, because they're trying to see if we have been enlightened enough to be communicated with. Well, once this started happening, the government and the 1 to 3% said, oh, absolutely not. If society learns that if they value peace over profit, if they value faith over fear, if the science of consciousness starts to envelop in this reality, people are going to be awakened. They're going to understand that since, well, basically the splitting of the atom, that's when we really first got our first encounter with real UFOs in the 30s, that we would start to be free. There's technology. Dr. Stephen Greer talks about that there's technology right now to end poverty. There's technology to share electricity. Just look up what Tesla did. Nobody wants to use it. Why? Because that makes us free. We don't have to have a bill for that. We don't have to have anything. And we're trashing the earth, and we're trashing the animals, and we're trashing our consciousness, and we're hurting Gaia in hopes of what? One more fucking sweater? A better car? What? What is so important that you must destroy an entire fucking planet to own? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so as I started learning about nature and trees and meditating, it was like when I would go on walks, the trees would talk to me, the flowers would talk to me, the bees would talk to me. You know, bees only find pollen by vibration. They don't smell it. The flower emanates a vibration, and then the bee knows to come and get the pollen. All right? So our collective consciousness is being radiated out into the universe because everything is based on sound. There's a sound energy, and the speed of light is not the way that we are being listened to. Is the speed of sound. In fact, they recently found out that a satellite in a orbit, I think it would take 5 million years, Earth years, to get to, can record a voice box on Earth in this moment in 500,000 or 5 million light years ahead. So they're finding out things every single day, and they're eking them out, and they've tried to make us fear aliens. Now, if you can move in and out of time-space reality and in and out of consciousness because we're all living at the same time. We're living in parallel universes. That's why manifesting is what it is, because you're moving from one vibrational plane to another. You're moving from one vibrational plane to another, and you're either going in and out of higher consciousness. And the science of consciousness is about not seeing people in their skin or their sexual orientation or their religious context or what part of the globe of the earth they're from, but seeing them as brothers and sisters, seeing them as fellow higher conscientious beings. And in order for us to receive true enlightenment, we have to release the ego of believing that we are it. Now, if you believe that God, source, universal energy, or your deities or your guides made this planet, then of course you're going to have to understand that those extraterrestrials, those people, those energies, those whatever they are, things are way more. First of all, we're all created by the same thing. So if you believe in one, you have to believe that this creation was intended for us to be able to help the consciousness. And Earth is very important in that process. We come here knowing nothing. And so we have to get back to a state of higher consciousness in order for us to manifest things. Now, I know that I've been talking so long, and this is going to be a little bit longer of a podcast, but here we go. Dr. Stephen Greer has an app called CE5. And after you watch the movie Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, you should go download the CE5 app. And the CE5 app gives you the protocol to use to call in your alien UFO technology. Now, when I moved to St. Pete, Florida, I am now on the water. So I have a dock that goes out into the water, and I see dolphins and stingrays and, all the different things that the ocean has. And so I thought it would be the perfect place for me to do my CE5 communication. And I started in Dallas when I started doing this technology and learning about it, but it really felt right to do it here. So they have a protocol where first you meditate, then it plays a specific frequency and you play that, and I play it on a speaker. And so for 6 months, I was going out once a month under the new moon, and playing this and doing all the different steps that you need to do to call in this vibration. And you have to send out and emanate, I am here in love. I do not fear you. I am here. I do not believe in racism. I don't believe in hatred. I don't want to hurt anybody. I believe in the science of consciousness. I want to be enlightened. I want to be utilized. I want to be used. And so you want to open up your vibration to that intergalactic solar system or communication through these modalities. And this is the fastest way to do it. So one day I was coming home, and I live in a very quiet neighborhood with a lot of retirees and snowbirds. And so there's never really traffic. It's a very small place. It's beautiful, St. Pete, Florida. 13 miles of white sand beach and crystal clear blue waters. It's unbelievable. So one day I was coming home, and I never, ever, ever at night would see any kind of crafts, any kind of, I didn't think anybody was getting my message, but I did it. I did it because, I believe in it, and I wanted to see if it would work. And Dr. Stephen Greer's evidence, the science of it, was compelling. The CIA has the Project Blue Book, records back from the 1920s about all the aliens and the UFOs, and they've even impersonated them to make us fear them, and they're collaborating with Hollywood to make us fear them. Fuck that. If you ever see that, that is a lie, just like fluoride. It's a false reality that they want us to be fearful of this higher intelligence. Trust me, if they wanted to destroy the planet, they can go through time, space, dimensions. They could destroy us. It's us that they're fearful of. We're angry, we're hateful, we're little, we're small-minded. And so as the science of our consciousness as the collective starts to rise, their ability to come and communicate with us becomes more accessible. And if you know anybody who's ever been a pilot or a helicopter or been in the military, you're going to know that they're going to tell you some story of an ET or a UFO. It is undeniable at this point. So I'm coming home and I'm going over this bridge, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this Cadillac SUV jumps in front of me, like just cuts me off. And I couldn't see where it came from. And I'm like, that's weird. Okay, brother, like, go ahead. Like, you can drive as fast as you want. That's cool. And all of a sudden I heard in my head, and I'm sitting here jamming out to Bad Bunny, and he's an artist. I don't know if anybody's heard of him or loves him, but anyway, I'm just like, hey, hey. And all of a sudden I hear this voice in my head that's just like overwhelming and pushing me. And it says, record, record, record. And I start to record this car for no reason. And then I put my phone back down, and I'm just 2 or 3 houses away from my house. And then I hear, no, record, record. So I record again, and I record again. And finally I look, and I think to myself, like, what is this? Like, why am I recording this stupid license plate? And why is it making me, like, it literally felt like that was the only thought that was in my head. Record, 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 over and over and over and over again. It was really weird. And so I'm just recording like 2 seconds and like the license plate. I'm like, what the fuck? So I get inside my garage and I go to open the door, and my whole car starts to vibrate, like literally. And it said, look at us, look at us. And I'm like looking around my garage, like, I literally felt like maybe somebody was in my garage. I couldn't understand. And so I finally get out my phone and I look at the little video, and the license plate is IFA 444, and you can see it on YouTube. And in my mind, I heard International Federation of Aliens. That's what I heard. And I started laughing. I said, what? And they're like, IFA, and then the 444. And that was our license plate. And I'm like, well, okay, I agree. There is an International Federation of Aliens, and I love you guys. And then they said, look at the video, look at the video. And on my video, you can distinctly see 2 alien spacecrafts over my house. They're round, they're blue and green. And then you take the photo and you spread it out and you make it bigger, and you can see the rotation of this UFO. And in my mind, I felt the most love I have ever felt in my life. I felt complete peace. It was like, yes, I believe you. Yes, I love you. Yes, Michelle, spread this message. Talk about it. We want everybody to know that they have to raise their collective consciousness, that they have to ignite with us. They have to share in the love of this world and care for this planet, and understand that they're not here to hurt us. They're here to help us. You know, the first time they ever made themselves known was to stop the atomic bomb from destroying this planet. And that's when the government realized, like, we have people, there are alien spacecrafts that will communicate with our people, and we have to control that message. And the second that they realized that, they started putting a plan into action for us to fear them, to fear leaving the reality that they want to manipulate. If you see something on CNN or on Fox News, that is doctored and that is bullshit. And they want you to believe that they're going to come here and hurt us. And if they wanted to do that, trust me, they could. And they don't. They love this planet. They love the humans that come here to raise the consciousness of the collective. And because you are listening, you are part of that consciousness of this collective. And I'm looking at this video and I'm spreading it out, and I see these 2 orbs in the sky that then you make bigger, and it's 2 distinct aircrafts. And at the bottom, you can see the lights and the rotating engines, and then they just disappeared. Like it was just seconds. And I thought to myself, I need to continuously look up into the sky to see if my friends are back. Do I still do the protocol? I absolutely do the protocol. Do I suggest you get the app and try it? I 100% think that you should. And it was this beautiful way of like letting me know that they've heard me, that they know me, that they know you, because the law of oneness dictates that everything and everyone is connected in every time, space, and continuum. And so because this is the truth, we all have to shift out of that manipulated reality and into the consciousness of being a higher loving being. All right. And so whenever I do this, I always like think about the aliens and the E.Ts, and I say, bring your light down to me. Let God know I'm listening. Please communicate at the highest level that I want to serve and I want to help. So if this is your experience with the only person you've ever known who actually has one-on-one contact, well, open up, because it's about to just explode and blow up for you, because Dr. Stephen Greer is a true champion here on earth, and I just think that he is unbelievable, and he's people that have worked with him have been murdered and assassinated. There's so many things that have happened since he broke free from the government and started revealing the truth to all of us. So please support him. And if you share this podcast, or you make a reel about it, or you do anything to help spread the word of Manifesting Miracles with Michelle J. Lamont, please tag him and myself in that communication. So I'm going to wrap up my how to manifest your own UFO and alien episode by saying that you are worthy of hearing this message, and you are worthy of receiving all of the help from this universe, or whatever of the 165 billion universes that there are, in order for you to manifest things into your reality. I don't want you to believe that anything is out there that wants to hurt or harm you. That is the false reality that they want us to believe. And I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to stay silent any longer. Do not believe the 3D matrix. Do not believe that they're here to harm us. Send it love. Understand that we are all one human race. We're not a part of the globe. We are the globe. We are affecting, there was that study that a butterfly's wings can impact a hurricane across the world. We're all a collective consciousness. And the more that we elevate ourselves in our thinking and our openness, the faster you're going to manifest things in this reality. And I invite you to challenge every single thing you've ever learned, and to shake the tree of knowledge until the correct things fall out, and stop believing everything that you've been told. We didn't go to school to be educated. We went to school to be indoctrinated. We didn't come into this planet to just work and die. We came here with our path and our purpose. And once we live in that path and the purpose, everything else will fall into place. So if this is your first time tuning in, I want you to know a couple of things. First, I love you. And you are worthy. You're worthy of being heard. You're worthy of being seen. And you matter. You matter. You matter deeply. And it's time for you to wake up and step out of the 3D and step into the 5D, where your abundance is protected and your ancestral abundance is activated, and your cosmic currency, well, it's endless. My name is Michelle Juanita Lamont, and I look forward to seeing you in my next group class or in one-on-one coaching. Pick up that phone, go to my website, get my newsletter, get my free ebook, and let's make our own contact. I love you. 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 Thank you for bringing your energy with us today. I'm so proud of you.